Hi, well, after the usual preparation and packing, we're on our way. We did make campsite reservations 4 to 5 months in advance, and I did make a couple of improvements to the RV. I added another solar panel to the roof and added a surround sound speaker to the inside for the TV. It takes a couple of days to get across the desert, so we generally have been driving over to Bakersfield, and there's a nice RV park there where we stay for one night, and we can get a pull-through campground so don't have to disconnect the Jeep, and it's easy setup and get going in the morning. And then we drove all the way over across the desert to Kingman, Arizona, and stayed one night there before going on to the Grand Canyon. I started calling this guy Mr. Ed. It seems like he's a regular in the campground there at the Grand Canyon. And he is a big fella. No rangers come around or anything. They must know him. But he came right up into our campsite and started having some dinner. We spent 2 nights in the Grand Canyon. Weather was good, sunny, clear skies, cool, not too hot during the day. And then we packed up and headed for Page, Arizona and Lake Powell. This is the Glen Canyon Dam and the bridge that crosses the Colorado River in Page, Arizona. Weather was good. It was a little warmer here, so we were running the air conditioner in the RV. About 15 miles south of the Glen Canyon Dam is Horseshoe Bend, which is quite a nice attraction and a beautiful photographic spot. They have a nice setup there. You do have to pay, but there's a nice parking lot, a nice paved trail down to the rim where you can get this view. and it was spectacular. We did an excursion to Lee's Ferry, which is a crossing point that was used back in the early days to get across the Colorado River. We were wanting to do a boat tour on Lake Powell, but all the boats were rented out in advance, and there was quite a lot of people there. So instead, we did this trip to Lee's Ferry, and it turned out to be really beautiful. It was all on road, but it was a really nice drive. It's probably 25, 30 miles south of the Glen Canyon Dam. From Lee's Ferry, we drove on up to Lake Powell again and further up to Lone Rock. Interesting that Lone Rock allows campers to stay kind of in a free-form way along the bank of the lake. It was a really beautiful spot and fairly crowded. We drove further up to Highway 230 and took an off-road excursion on a dirt road, had to cross a stream, where we did most of the driving, and it was pretty fun. So after 3 nights at Lake Powell, we headed off to Monument Valley, and that was actually a pretty short trip. And we stayed at Goulding RV Park, which is in a canyon that is quite beautiful. Unfortunately, Monument Valley, the actual loop that takes you through the area, is on Navajo Nation property, and it was closed due to the COVID. I got to fly the drone right from the RV park, and you can see that's Monument Valley in the distance, and this is the surrounding mountains there at the campsite, which is pretty spectacular. They call this spot the Forrest Gump spot, and this was where in the Forrest Gump movie where he stopped running, and it's become kind of a famous spot to stop and take pictures. Sadie seems pretty relaxed about everything and enjoying the trip. The next day we headed up to go to Valley of the Gods, and Mexican Hat is on the way. I was pretty excited about going to Valley of the Gods, and it was an off-road excursion, but a good dirt road. We went on further to the Muley Point destination, which offers a pretty spectacular view of Green River. Half of the trip is on pavement, especially up the steep, windy mountainside, but then it's a long traverse on dirt road into the actual rim itself. When we got there, we were surprised to find a lot of fairly large RVs, many of them parked and camping very close to the cliff, which is about 2,000 or 3,000 feet above the river floor. After 3 nights in Monument Valley, we're planning to pack up the next day and head to Blanding, Utah for the next phase of the trip. Watch the next episode to see our further adventures.